Okay, everybody. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now? I have to laugh at myself sometimes. So, what I was saying, first of all, I was welcoming everybody to the show. Sorry about the sound. I had to take the microphone off. I was doing something earlier. So forgive me for that. Still no sound? Okay. Okay. All right. There we go. There we go. It's good to have family in the box. They let you know when it's not running right. So let me back up a little bit. Essentially, I was just welcoming everybody to the show. I was trying to share with you. I'm kind of excited about the topic today, maintaining good health and healthy diet. So I wanted to do that as well. I just want to, actually change the show up a little bit because a lot of times when I come on, I'm doing so like this talking head thing and we interact. But I thought it'd be really interesting because everybody's had to deal with issues of maintaining good health, and also having a healthy diet. And it's funny because I know a fair amount of you in the Shout Out Show family, and I see some who have come back. Brother Yusef, good to see you back. But it's interesting because we didn't necessarily grow up with all the good, healthy diet ideas. It's like we really had to move into them, particularly in our religious communities. We had to move into the idea that this food was good, this food wasn't bad. You can eat this, don't eat too much of that. And I really want to throw it back to some of the facts that our people, brothers and sisters, your grandmothers and your grandfathers and people who used to eat off the land, who planted stuff. My grandfather had he had a garden in the back, and it wasn't a huge garden, but it was in the middle of Washington D.C. He had a garden in the back, and he grew things like peppers. That was his big thing. He liked peppers, good strong pepper, and a tomato. And I'll be honest that I grew out of that, but I really want to get into that. It's like I got a decent backyard. I really want to get into not farming, but just planting vegetables. Getting back to organic stuff. And I have to lay this out. I have to lay it out because when I was a kid, we used to go to a place called Farmers Market in the middle of Washington D.C. off of Florida Avenue and New York Avenue. Well, really off of Florida and New York Avenue. And you would go to the market and you would get things like your fresh meats, you get your fresh vegetables, your fresh collard greens, stuff like that. And this is before, this is before you had the proliferation of McDonald's and stuff like that. So it was really something about getting a meal. I believe that's what makes Thanksgiving so special because there's a certain spirit that's cooked into the food, if you will. There's something organic about having somebody prepare a meal for you. I haven't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's the compassion, the mercy, or just the trust that this person is making me this meal. And I don't really have to worry about this person. This person made this meal with my best interest at heart. Like when you go to a McDonald's or fast food restaurant, even sometimes some restaurants, it's not the same. Someone made the food for you, paying for it, but you really don't have any relationship with the food. Like nobody could tell you how they prepared the food. Nobody comes out, they put the plate on your table, and they walk away. And when you finish, they pick the table up and they walk away. There's no narrative. The conversation usually at the table is how good your food is, but we can't talk about how the food was sourced, how the food was cooked. I mean, and I'm going to get into that. I'm being rude. First, I'm being rude to anybody who might be tuning into the show for the first time. First time is to the Shout Out Show. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. Forgive me for my rambling. I'm just a little excited, and I can look at my Shout Out Show family in the comment section. I know they're busting out. This is going to be a good show. But if you're coming to the show for the first time, number one, we appreciate you coming. Number two, don't be a stranger. Don't be shy. Get in the comment section and get what's known as your shout out. That's your initiation to one of the most eclectic group of people, intellectuals, in the game right now in terms of live stream. These are people who make the show special. Not me. I'm just the host. I'm just the driver of the bus. The people who get on the bus are the ones that tell you where to go. So I am thoroughly indebted to my Shout Out Show family, Shout Out Show soldiers. And like I said, get in the comment, and don't be shy. We're a good feeling, good vibe, and we talk about things on this show. And if you don't mind, if you like the show, click the like button. If you hit the notification button, whatever. but most importantly, enjoy yourself. So I have to move this over because I'm going to show this. I'm going to show you how we do with the this is the stars in the building section. So the stars in the building section is like these are people who have been with me since the beginning of this thing, and so you have to ring them out. I said something on show before last when I was talking about outliers, and I do mean this. That I do have a debt of gratitude to all of you, based upon the fact that everybody brings their own. I want to say your own flavor, your own special sauce, your own flow, and it steers the show in a different way. I'm talking about food and healthy diet. I'm talking about this is like soul food. Like people, you might have met people, but their comments they give you a little bit of a roadmap of how you are supposed to frame a show and what makes it accessible and meaningful for other people. So let me go down the line. This is my chief dietitian right here, Sister Ree. What's going on, Sister Ree? Sister Ree is craft services for the shout out show. So if we ever have a live show, she's going to be cooking for us, inshallah. Sister Satana, walaikum assalam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, all the way from New Jersey. Sister, I hope the snow has gotten out of there and you guys are moving around appropriately. And this is my little brother, my homie, my A1 from day one. This is Johnny L. Thomas, little brother. Thank you so much for coming on. Walaikum assalam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's your sister, Ika, all the way from Indonesia, brothers and sisters. Jakarta, Indonesia, actually a little spot out of it called Depok. So we appreciate her. She comes straight off the mat from Fodder and tunes in. So we appreciate you, sister. All right. My main man, Altaf Rashid, all the way from Toronto, tunes in. I said my brother comes to the show. He needs no passport. He needs no immigration. He needs no vaccination. The brother just needs education. There you go. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So, this is my mom. Turn on the sound. I know. That's like me when I'm at my house when I'm at her house. Answer the phone. Turn on the sound. Yeah, Ma, the sound is on now, so I appreciate you. Sister Rabina, thank you so much. All right. So, I'm going to throw something out here. Some facts, if you will. Brother Yusuf, what's going on, brother? Thank you so much. H-Town forever. What part of H-Town, brother? What part of H-Town? When you get a chance, shout it out, brother. This is all interactive. I'm going to be talking for a little bit, but anybody who feels like they want to jump in, this is a conversation. Jump in. Throw out. And I tell people, I purposely didn't research this heavily because I felt like everybody in the conversation today has something to add on a personal level about what we're talking about. And, the topic, again, is maintaining good health and healthy diet, which is really two separate things. Healthy diet is a part of maintaining good health. Good health is, your physical health, your mental health, spiritual health, and, of course, your food, your dietary health. So these are main things. Look at Brother Yusuf. He got in already. He said, get yourself a tower garden. All right, brother. I'm going to be working on it. And so I have just a few more people. Sister Rabina is our in-house research director. And I appreciate it. She's actually staying up late. She's over in the UK. She tunes in a lot. Sister, you tune in a lot. Your on-base percentage for the shout-out show is amazing. We appreciate you. You, Ree, Sultan Ali, and of course I'll get to our lovely consultant producer Sultana Whitfield, who is I want to say right-hand woman. I mean, that's just to make sure this show happens. She's here every day, and as we slowly approach 300 episodes, brothers and sisters, it tells you the volume, not so much volume of work, but the volume of, or the quality of people. Having a volume of a quality of people that come on the show and make this thing so much easier. So Sister Rabina is first up. I was raised next to Fresh Market and everyone grew food in their garden in central London. No one used supermarkets. We still don't use supermarkets or fast food joints. Alhamdulillah, because, you show me a halal fried chicken spot, I'm a double park. But I'm being honest. I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background, and then you can feel free to beat up on me or add to what I'm going to say. This is Sister Sultana, our consultant producer. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Appreciate it. And for those who want to know, Sister Rabina says, excellent Facebook page to really learn about healthy ways is keeping healthy in a toxic world. Everybody write that one down. Keeping healthy in a toxic world on Facebook. I might even bring that page up. Keeping healthy in a toxic world on Facebook. Thank you, Sister Rabina. And here's my other sister. This is sister, Miss Eleanor, my mom's sidekick. How you doing, Miss Eleanor? Good to see you on the show. Always, always. All right, Yusef, Fifth Ward. I know. You probably hear me. Yusef! You probably heard that, brother. You probably heard it. Okay. Yusef! Just open the window. You probably heard me, man. Fifth Ward. So, let me throw this out. One of the things that, when we got in this COVID situation, that I really focused on was, one, a good physical health, and two, I really started looking at what I eat. One was physical health, and one was definitely what I eat, and how I adjust, how I balance it, because it's all part of having a balanced life. Your spiritual life is your prayers and things like that, but your physical life and your diet life are just as important. And it's really important for me because for what I do, for many years before I did All That Made Me Funny, being a road comic consisted of showing up to towns and figuring out what you could eat that wasn't going to kill you. Let me say it again. It consisted of showing up into towns and figuring out what you're going to eat to make sure it didn't kill you. Even today, there's only certain places I would go to get food, particularly fast food, because I felt that there was a uniformity in how they prepared the food. And it was extremely, extremely important, brothers and sisters. Extremely, extremely important. And so, these things are really, really important because at one point in time, I'd actually gotten sick on the road. I had eaten, I think it was some chicken or something. I took so ill that when I came out of the illness, I no longer had a taste for chicken or fish, and I didn't eat beef. So I was a vegan for about 4 years because I was sick, and then, taste buds came back or whatever. But I'm just saying, that was amazing process. And, I don't claim like, oh my goodness, I can, I eat healthy. A lot of us on the show know that, I don't know about you, my mother's on the show, but I took a lot of whoopings because I didn't want to eat vegetables. All right. In fact, I would want to shout out real quickly, Maxine Cade, who is sponsoring this show with BeFinanciallyIndependent.com. She's on the show. Thank you so much for the background. We appreciate it. But she is also important about maintaining financial good health. So we'll talk about that later. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Miss Maxine Cade, better known as the Harriet Tubman of Financial Freedom. All right. But before we get in this, I just want to give a background whereby there's a disconnect. Around my age, in the city, and even in the suburbs, over a proliferation, maybe like 20 years, they developed a term called food desert. Now, the technical government term for food desert is that in urban and suburban areas, it meant that you were at least 1 mile away from a supermarket. Let me say it again. 1 mile away from a supermarket. In rural areas, it was 10 miles. So 1 mile for suburban, urban areas, and 10 miles for rural areas. And I think that I thought that was really, really important or interesting is, the proliferation of corner stores changed. You didn't have neighborhood butchers anymore or fresh meats and things like that. I talk about going to farmer's market type deal. You really didn't have that. And it's interesting because you grew up with it, but you didn't have it. I have not vague memories, but actually pretty clear memories of going to get fresh meats, going to get fresh vegetables. I remember my father and the neighborhood men, they all went in on a cow. This is when I ate red meat when I was a kid. But they all went in on a cow. Like they bought an entire cow to make sure they had fresh meat. And I remember because we had fresh meat for months. I mean, my parents bought a freezer, and it was just filled with nothing but fresh meats. And you would get your occasional canned food, but a lot of it was fresh food. It's very fresh food. The meat was fresh and things like that. And now they have this whole thing of food deserts. Now, I don't like to call them food deserts because it's not so much the ability of being able to go get the food. It has more to do with the ability of people not to go get the food. Let me clarify what I'm saying. In that space, the urban area, it was so much about mobility. It was so much about mobility. I mean, my aunt and my grandparents and my grandmother specifically, I remember having to be a child and go with them to the market, to Safeway, and getting the groceries. That's when used to have the carts. Oh my gosh, I'm going back here. You have to have the carts, and you put your groceries in the carts, and you put them on the bus, and then you come back, and it was that type of thing. But it didn't bother anybody because this is what you did. It's part of living in the city. You didn't have the farms. You didn't have those things. And I'm like, this is amazing, because now, like, I live in an area, man, where you go 5 minutes and you're going to. I live 5 minutes and you can get Wendy's, you can get Taco Bell, you can get on the other side, you can get Subway, you can get Dairy Queen, you can get Panera Bread, and it's just this whole very unorganic aspect of replacing not just fresh food, but the act of preparing food. It's like the act of preparing food. And I'm going to get to that. Let me bring up some comments. Sister Rabina says, it is imperative to drink clean water. Yes, invest in H2 water distiller or distill a cup from Zero Water UK and start using this water. Drink it, wash your dishes in it. I can cook up to the best, healthiest fried chicken in the Ninja air fryer. Well, everybody, you've heard Sister Rabina. She's our official research director. I'm going to check it out. My mother says, quit gardening in the backyard patch when someone stole my tomatoes. Oh, I sold those tomatoes, Mom. Okay, so let me keep it moving. Sister Rabina is giving us a little bit more. The Facebook page is called Staying Healthy in the Toxic World. Check that out on Facebook. Look at Yusuf. Leave that meat alone. Yeah, I have, brother. I have. For the most part, I'm trying to get off the chicken. Halal chicken is like heroin. I'm sorry. I'm trying to kick it. Maybe I need to go to a Chicken Anonymous meeting. Just be like, hi, my name is Preacher Moss. I'm a chicken addict. And maybe they'll work with me. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, maintaining good health is so vital, particularly in these times, because I don't remember any new initiatives once Trump came in about maintaining good health. There's no new initiatives. I remember when I was a kid, going to school, I think it was high school, and they were trying to figure out what constituted a real nutritious lunch. And I remember watching it, and the vegetables, to take care of the vegetable component of a nutritious lunch, they listed ketchup. They said ketchup is a vegetable. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like a pack of ketchup. And I'm saying this because these were the rules. This is what they were giving kids in the inner city. This was what they were giving kids in the rural areas. And even more so, at this particular time, there's been a bit of a delineation. The whole thing about we're going to deliver food to you. During the pandemic, we're going to deliver food to you. I'm like, why are you delivering food during a pandemic? At some point in time, yeah, I myself had to take responsibility for my own health and that of my family and plant a garden. And I'm telling you something about planting a garden. There's a lot of aspects about religiosity and spirituality of food, like wholesome food. Like if you go in the Bible and you go in the Quran, they talk about, what is halal food and the idea of what's permissible, you know, and we grew up with that. You know, of course, when I was a kid, you know, pig was permissible. You ate that pig, oink 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 oink. You know, didn't know any better. But when I got older, you know, I got off the pig, got off the red meat, things like that. And I like to tell everybody I feel fairly healthy, you know, but I'm indebted to some of the wacky people I thought were crazy who were eating things like alfalfa sprouts and weed juice and things like that, you know, but they were really health wise, they were really outliers. And I have to give them credit because, you know, they were doing it when no one else was doing it. I remember going to a vegetarian place and the guy, he looked so bad. I was like, how long you been vegetarian? He's like 30 years. Dude looked like he was going to fall over dead just saying 30 years. I was like, man, I might better go get me some chicken because I don't want to look like him. But the thing is funny is once the industry caught up, then they got into the business of, you know, doing vegetarian food and meatless dishes and stuff like that, and they do a horrible job of it. Let's be honest, you know, it's you know. But think about this though. The thing that makes a healthy diet a really really healthy diet, I feel, is that there's a narrative to the food. Like there's a narrative to the food. The idea of home cooking or a home cooked meal is that there's a narrative to the cook and there's a narrative to how that person knows how to cook. Like my mom and my aunt are on here right now. If you would have asked them what's my favorite food, the thing I love, it's gonna be salmon cakes, potatoes, and eggs. Let me say, salmon cakes, potatoes, and eggs. Why? I can get them anywhere, and it could be pretty quite tasty. But I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna be real honest. It's because when they start cooking, I don't see them cooking in the kitchen. I see their mother cooking in the kitchen, in a little restaurant they had in Danville, Virginia, making burgers, and it was the community spot, and that is the narrative, brothers and sisters. Now I'm not gonna tell everybody, you know, eat a bunch of potatoes. I'm not gonna tell you that, but I'm just saying in this instance, the healthy part of it is that I realize part of a healthy diet when you're doing food and you have people, you're preparing your food, particularly when you're preparing food and you're gonna share it to someone. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's the space that, you know, there's compassion. My brother JT is on here. He's in Milwaukee, but he knows when I come to eat, when Yolanda cooks, you know, there's a certain joy when she cooks, or when, you know, Miss Maisie cooks. There's a certain joy when Miss Maisie cooks because I personally feel that there's compassion in the food. There's an exchange. Like there's a blessing for them preparing it, a blessing for me eating it. You know, it's interesting. Let me jump into our comment section. I'm a little miss here. Let me go. You said, leave that meat alone. You're right, brother. My sister from New Jersey, Trump loves Burger King. Yeah, that's why his mind's all messed up. And Sister Rabina, please understand that food quality in the U.S. is measured by the manual of defects, which allows for extremely poor food drink standards. The U.S. unfortunately injects so many chemicals in their meat and poultry that the UK and EU will never allow. I remember you telling me that. And there is a system of standards. Even just how they slaughter food. I don't even want to get into that. What do you say, Yusuf? They tell you to, like Beyond Meat once a month. Yeah, I like the Beyond Meat, man. You know, I was into the Impossible Burger at Burger King until they made it impossible to get it and took it off. Took it off the menu. What'd you say, JT? Mr. Glass, yes, Mr. Glass. JT's his wife's grandfather planted a garden in their yard, and every weekend would tile the yard with his 3-year-old grandson. Yeah, that's old school. It's things you laugh at now, and you're like, "Are you crazy?" Like my grandfather loved rabbit. Like who? Like I was like a rabbit, and it's like every once in a while, like once a year, he get rabbit. And I'm gonna tell you why I know it was once a year, because that was the happiest part of the year for him when he got that rabbit. Come to Central London, you will have a have you healthy in 2 months. All right. Well, I have a good friend in in the UK. I can't remember what part of town he's in, but his mom is from Uganda. His mom makes everything fresh. White fish. I mean, everything she does is fresh. Man. Like when we want to go get like some fried chicken, we're so afraid to bring it around her. We eat it in the car and throw the garbage away. And we wipe our hands and breath mints and act like we're not hungry because she fixes everything fresh. It's. I stayed at her house for a minute and it was I felt so spoiled. All right. We have a psychological addiction to food, just like music invokes certain emotions. I you know what, brother Yusuf, we should explore that topic. There are certain foods that I like. I don't know why. Like there's certain foods that I like. Like I like a certain orange at a certain time of the year, and I look for that orange or like a peach right at the beginning of spring. I might not buy them the whole summer, but right at the beginning of spring, it's like I gotta have it. I gotta have it. Sister Sultana said grandfather had a garden patch. Father had one also. We you know this is this is really indicative of how far we've kind of moved away. It's like how many of you have your own garden? Like I don't have my own garden. I'm gonna tell folks that right now. I'm thinking about it. I want to do it. I don't have my own garden. So being to stay away from meat substitutes that contain. Well, the thing about the meat substitutes that you have to be careful of, they have a lot of sodium. They have a whole lot of sodium. So you have to be careful of that. Look at this on the grandfather used to hunt and fish, ate rabbit and squirrel. Well, our grandfathers could have hung out because my grandfather tried to give me some rabbit. Uh, Gave it to me on the slide, and he was like, "How you like that?" And I thought it was like chicken. He was like, "There ain't no chicken, that's rabbit." I was like, "I hate you." I'm gonna work on it. You know, brother Yusuf, we should talk, man. We got to pull our gardens together. You know, and it's just something about getting food from the earth. You know, it's about something getting food from the earth. Now, the other part of it we were talking about again was, you know, maintaining good health. And one of the things about maintaining good health is the ability to clarity at some point in time to say when you're not healthy. To literally look around and say, you know what, I'm not hurt, I'm injured. I'm talking about a health perspective. I'm not hurt, I'm injured. And I think we need to get to that because this year has been crazy. Of course, everything has been so much. The news has been dominated by COVID, COVID's illness numbers, statistics, but nobody's talking about how many people are suffering outside of COVID, not getting proper attention, medical attention, not being able to go in and get what would be the normal services, if you will. I'm not saying that it's directly correlates to a lot of other illnesses outside of COVID, but it does have a relationship. I have to say it has a relationship in terms of care. You know, your maintenance, if you will. That's why I said maintaining good health. Your maintenance, you know, maintaining is, you know, a lot of times you got to do self checks. You got to check your blood pressure. You have to check your heart. And as a part of that, again, you have to make sure spiritually that you're balanced. Getting getting your proper sleep, or as Sister Rabina, you know, getting the right water is amazing because, you know, we've moved so much into this space where we let people dictate what good health looks like. And they're just not good, healthy people. Let me go to Altaf, all the way from eating healthy in North America is very expensive, just like trying to get an electric vehicle. That's the other thing too, Brother Altaf. You know, when I lived in Milwaukee, Milwaukee has like a lot of little corner stores. And the problem with the little corner stores is the corner stores frame themselves as somehow being like supermarkets. just because you can get some bread there and they serve some meat, it's not the best meat. You know what I mean? You're getting, what's left over from what's left over from what's left over. It's not like you're going, one of the joys, if you will, like when I go to the grocery store, one of the joys is I can pick the fish I want. I can tell them how many cuts of chicken breast I want. I can tell them, you know what, I would like X, Y, and Z. One of the joys is like if you, my, I don't want to go into it, but watching it, getting a fresh chicken. Now, the whole idea of seeing a chicken get his neck wrung is like traumatic. I mean, I started smoking. I didn't even smoke. I was like, I need to calm down. I couldn't eat the chicken afterwards. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. And Brother Yusuf has put this in. It is the phenomenon of the bodegas, food, and liquor stores. The bodega, food, and liquor store. Yes, and that somehow, I won't go into conspiracy theory. Somehow that began to substitute for the market. And the things that they serve in the food the bodega food store is absolutely poison. It's toxic. I won't even talk about the liquor stores because I know a couple Muslim brothers still own the liquor stores, and I will continue to talk about you and put you out on Front Street. So don't worry about it. Sister Rabina said we have fresh butchers that stock fresh game, and I love partridge, quail, and venison. Yeah, man, you and my dad like that venison. You can't give it to me though. If you give it to me, I'm gonna give it to somebody who like venison. So, Tower Garden, I know what it is, brother. But I'm gonna say it though. Yusuf said a Tower Garden is a aeroponic system. There's no soil. Yes, sir. But I think it's important. You know what? Because I'm being a little. I don't want to be disrespectful. You know what? You giving them the information. I didn't clarify that. So that's what a Tower Garden is, brothers and sisters. So, look at Sister Rabina on the roll. Throw away microwave and all non-stick pans and plastic. Start using the iron skillet, glass containers, and old-fashioned oven. America has been brainwashed into believing that these are imperative. It's not so much the imperative, Sister Rabina, it's that it's quick. That's why we have the term fast food. It's quick. People need it. They're in a hurry. Or they believe that they're in a hurry. They believe they need it right away. And that has been part of the disintegration of families not sitting together and eating. My mom and I, we go through that sometimes. She's like, I sit at the table and eat. I'm like, I ain't got that kind of time. And I do. It's just that I have been conditioned that I have to eat. And I went to military school. So military school, and JT, you can back me up on this. When you are any parts of the military, you eat quick because everything is a sense of urgency. You eat quick and you keep it moving. So, yes, sir, brother. There is a culture of eating out in Texas. And they make it cultural, too. The little Mexican food shops proliferate all over the place, man. They make it convenient. It's at this person's house. When I was in Long Beach, California, had a guy he'd sell tamales. Hey, give me a tamale. He'd be right up down the street selling tamales. But I think the thing is, and I want to wrap up because I want people to be able to go about and enjoy the rest of their day. I think the thing that's really important is that we began to address things like food deserts. Because we're in a situation right now whereby we are restricted by, we have restricted mobility due to COVID, number one. Number two is we're not getting the interchange of food. We're not talking enough about the quality of food that we're getting. I recently went out to a grocery store, kind of looked at the fish and was really, really unhappy with the quality of the fish. I was like, I think that fish has been sitting there a while, or they froze it too many times. I looked at chicken, and now it's like I'm really, really, I eat halal, but even eating halal doesn't mean that you won't get sick. The food has to be prepared and things like that. So it's like, this is things we should be thinking about because we're sitting at home, we're consuming all of this food, and we may not realize that we may be putting toxic things in our bodies. So, I thought that would be a great topic today. It seems like you guys are really on top of things, and I'm glad we were able to have a good discussion. Uh, yeah, restaurants are big here. Sister Rabina, I'm gonna give you last word. Quick is the selling word they use to condition. I have been cooking for 9 people since I was 11. Proper meals, start to finish, done in 1 hour. Yep, 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 yep. I appreciate you. So listen, let me give this quick note to our sponsor, and I encourage everybody. You see the ticker on the bottom going through. Let me stop the ticker. But you see the ticker on the bottom, brothers and sisters. And I think, what we would like to do is, you know, we're gonna have Miss Cade on to speak about financial health. I talk about this all the time, and I want to make sure that I'm clear and I clarify what I've been saying. The time that you really want to start looking at your finances is not during the time of crisis. I want everyone, in some regards, to be a little bit of an outlier about your finances. To think about 3 or 4 years from now that it could be another COVID situation. Even as a comedian, as hard as I work, my livelihood in some regards stopped. A part of my livelihood stopped. What didn't stop, all praise due to Allah, is the creativity didn't stop. And what creativity does is allow you to understand that there are scenarios and circumstances where you may not be able to make money. You could literally lose your livelihood. Everything from the market crashing, everything from your health or death. So I don't want to go too deep into that, but it's really, really important to start having conversations about your financial health. And to do that, check out www.befinanciallyindependent.com, or you can call 1-800-679-3175 today. Again, that's befinanciallyindependent.com, or you can call 1-800-679-3175. I want to thank Be Financially Independent for sponsoring this segment. We appreciate you. Got a couple more words in here, and then I'm going to let everybody go back to their life. I know y'all tired of looking at this Negro, and I'm hungry. And he ain't cooking nothing. So let me get back to this. So, a few more comments, and then we'll go. Hey, thank you so much, Brother Yusuf. Appreciate you as well, man. Appreciate you. And my mom got the last word. Food imbalance coupled with mental imbalance leads to people now all messed up. It's true. It's true. I got suspended for bringing food in to students when my first year in teaching, first or second year. Bought in fresh food. Boy, it didn't go over well. It didn't go over well at all. And I thought I was doing a good thing, but wasn't. And one of the funniest things when I did some home visits to see my students, the parents, the mothers would invite me over. They said, don't come. I was a single young man back then, and they'd say, who's cooking for you? And I was like, nobody's cooking. And they would cook. And you know what they cook? They cook fresh food. Think about that. Okay, sports fans, y'all have been amazing. Like I said, I hope everybody has a blessed day. I appreciate you. As my brother says, Allah's God, keep it simple. And inshallah, if it's meant to be, I'll see you tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you when I see you. But I just want everybody to know that you are appreciated. And overall, man, just thank you. Thank you for for all of you coming on the show and contributing, because that makes this thing really important for me. Okay, everybody, I got to go. Got some homework to do. School starts tomorrow. So everybody make dua for me. This is my last year. Inshallah, I'm going to get my master's in Islamic education. And what I'm hoping to do is develop a bit of a matrix curriculum that's beneficial to, of course, Muslim children, but also non-Muslim children, particularly African American and Latino children, about politics. So, again, you guys have been great. I got to bounce, and I will see you on the other side tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Take care and have a great rest of the day. Assalamu alaikum. Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your shout out show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next shout out show. A simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarif Attar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifattar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.